What's up, and welcome back to Starlight Beacon. I am late for this review. I've had a lot going on this weekend. Was not able to review War Mantel on Friday, so I'm doing it right here, right now, live for you all. How many people got in here? We got a couple people watching. Okay. Captain's Log is in here, man. What's going on, man? I've actually been ready to talk about this episode. This was a really good episode, man. Oh man, this felt like episode one. This felt like what I started watching this series for. But we're gonna get into it because this is gonna be these final three episodes is gonna be a part of a serious arc, and it's gonna end with a bang. I'm calling it now. We're gonna end with a bang. But this episode was amazing. We finally get a glimpse of War Mantle because I'm still of the belief that War Mantle is not just the transition of the clones or the clone army to the conscription soldiers, but the overall revamping of the Imperial war machine, completely doing away with the Republic's war effort. So that's, the ships, the weaponry, the armor, everything must go. Like, complete overhaul of the armed forces. That's what we're seeing. This base is basically the beginning of it, if you will. Darth Maximus, what's happening? Thank you for joining. Yeah, man, let's get into it. So I know a lot of people have already reviewed this episode. You've probably seen a lot of other reviews prior to mine, but I just kind of want to talk about, what I dug about the episode, and let's just speculate a little bit of, what these last two episodes are going to entail. I'd love to hear you all's theories. Hunter was captured in the end. We know that's not going to last too long. But, who all is coming to the rescue? We know that, of course, the Bad Batch, they're going to go jump back into action. We'll see Crosshair again, of course, because they know, well, he was there, of course. He's at the base. He knows that they captured Hunter. He's the last person that we see talking to Hunter is Crosshair. So that sets up a huge confrontation between them. What are they going to do with the Kaminoans? Because that's another big thing that they kind of set up in this episode. Is it Lamasu? I keep forgetting their names. I keep getting them mixed up. But the politician, the Supreme Chancellor, no, he's not the Supreme Chancellor. The leader of the Kaminoans, he's definitely in trouble. I don't know if they killed him or I don't know if they detained him, but he was locked in the room with the stormtroopers in the end. Well, they're not stormtroopers, the clone troopers. A lot of people have been talking about, and I've been talking about it a little bit, but the possibility of them actually having a full-on civil war on Kamino. I think they really hinted at that. I believe that the Imperial regime is planning to destroy Kamino and the facilities there. They said something about getting rid of all the evidence, so I think we're going to see the destruction of Kamino. They're going to sink that thing to the bottom of the ocean. So, and that was the thing that happened in Legends. Now, Kamino itself wasn't completely destroyed, which I think that's on the table at this point. But, the Kaminoans in Legends created a separate batch of clones that were obedient to them to fight the Empire off. And they ended up losing, but that was the catalyst for one of the catalysts, but one of the main reasons why the Empire switched from the clone troops to conscription soldiers in Legends was because of that big civil war that happened on Kamino. So I think we're going to get that again, but it's going to be a different iteration of it, a different telling of that story, which I'm 100% on board with. All right, what else we got, man? Hey, y'all got any questions for me? Let me know. I know it's been a while since you've seen the episode. You probably hadn't watched it since Friday, and if you have, good for you. I know I haven't, but I've pretty much recalled and just everything that stuck to my brain since Friday. I've been wanting to talk about it ever since Friday, so that's kind of sort of where I'm at right now. But definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments. What you all are thinking about this episode. How you feeling about it? And how are you feeling about these last two episodes? Because I'm excited, man. I haven't been looking forward to an episode of the Bad Batch in a while. Probably since the Cad Bane episode, I believe. Whatever I know. So the Cad Bane episode was a real good one for me. Anticipation to see Rex, of course, that was a big thing for me. I was definitely looking forward to seeing Rex again, at least for the first time in this series. But yeah, it hadn't been too many major, and it's just the first season. It's not going to be too many mind-blowing jaw-dropping moments in the first season, but when they happen, I'm always here for it. Darth Maximus says, I thought it was awesome. Can't wait for the next two. I agree. Oh yeah. What am I doing? See, I'm out of play here. Definitely rank the episode. I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10 where you rank this episode. For me, it is an 8.5. 8.5 for me out of 10. I see the Captain's Log gave it a 9 out of 10. Appreciate you for doing the ranking, because that's completely slipped my mind. I think everybody is kind of sort of, and the way they left this off, right, it kind of does build a lot of anticipation for the next two episodes. Like the way it ended, that it's going to take at least 2 episodes for all of this to get resolved, and for them to also set up the next season, because I know that's coming. Now whether there'll be a season 3, I think season 3 would kind of sort of depend on the success of season 2. And the success of season 2 really hinges on how these last 3 episodes go. How much hype and anticipation can they build up for a season 2 of this? That's yet to be seen. But, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, the fans are enjoying this show, but they got to do some things to get, other people on board, the casuals on board with it. Daniel Fisher, what's going on? Evening. He gave it a 9 as well. Hey Daniel, is it your son? I think your son, last time we were on the stream, I believe it's you. I think your son was sick. Hope he's feeling all right. I hope I'm not confusing with someone else either. But I do believe. Let me know. Yeah, okay. Darth Maximus says 9 out of 10. Everybody gave it a 9. I'm the only one that gave it an 8. I get an 8.5. I didn't quite give it a 9. I will see. I think they've got some stronger content in these next 2 episodes that will give, I'll give a 9 to. I've got enough faith in them to do that. I know it's coming. My 9 is coming. Don't worry. Wasn't this episode though. Great build up though. Great build up. That is for sure. Man, it was fun as well. Okay, cool, good. Glad to hear that he's on the mend. This was good though. This was a good episode. I was really, from start to finish, I was on the edge of my seat. And what's funny? Their aim. The aim of the conscription soldiers, even though they're in this nice facility, I don't know, maybe it's the helmets, I don't know what it is, but good gosh, they can't hit anything, can they? So we are definitely dealing with stormtroopers, because it was a facility full of them, and I don't even think, how many shots did they land? Like 1 or 2 total? And then they had an entire fleet going after the Bad Batch in the ship. I forget what the ship's name is, but it was a good, it had to be at least 8 ships up in the air. It was crazy. Captain's log says, by the way, when I saw the new armor and upgrades to all the protocols, instant eyebrow raise. I want to see all the upgrades. Can't wait to see the elite units, what the elite units are going to look like. Yeah, you know what? I am, oh, and you know, just a little trivia too. The armor, the first generation Stormtrooper armor, is actually the concept art that Ralph McQuarrie did for A New Hope for the Stormtroopers. It is inspired by that early concept work from him, which is cool to see. You know, cool to see. Always, I love that in animation, they always find a way to pay homage to Ralph McQuarrie and, you know, the legendary work that he did behind the scenes in pre-production with the concept work, and really laying the groundwork for the visuals and the aesthetic of Star Wars. That is a lot to do with his execution of George's vision for how Star Wars was going to look. So yeah, I do love that they always find a way to incorporate some of his, you know, some of the concept art that didn't make it into A New Hope into these shows. Great to see. Okay, but anyway, let's get into what was the other thing you said? The elite units. Yes, Death Troopers. They got to be coming. I believe I'm still strong on the idea that Crosshair is going to be the, you know, the marshal of the, or what is it, the grand? He wouldn't be the grand, but maybe with the general for the Death Troopers. Maybe he'll survive this whole thing. Like, maybe he'll actually be around, you know, around the time of Rogue One. You know, maybe this doesn't. I mean, there'll be some sort of fairy tale, but I believe it is his hand that will guide the creation of the Death Troopers, all encompassing this War Mantle project. Because, as I said, I don't think War Mantle is just about the troops. I think it's about the entire armament for the Imperial war effort. Because as I said in the previous episode, for episode 13, in my review of that, like, you know, they're still using Venators from the Clone Wars, which are the predecessor to the Star Destroyer, the big arrow-shaped battle cruisers. So, you know, we've got to see actual Star Destroyers, and I believe the Venators have become what the Victory class Star Destroyer was back in Legends, which I'm cool with. I like the look of the in the episode, and in the dogfight sequence. Those were V-wings that were in pursuit of the Bad Batch. So still no TIE fighters, no TIE interceptors, no TIE anything. You know, so they're probably still using the Y-wings as well. So they'll have to, you know, get rid of those. So I believe that's what War Mantle is. Like, it can't just be this one aspect of the Imperial Army. I think it's them revamping the entire thing, starting with, of course, the troops. Trev, what's happening? Thank you for joining. So will we see Krennic and Thrawn? They're the ones who use the Death Troopers. I think it's possible. I don't think we'll see them in this season. And I definitely, so Thrawn, no, we won't see Thrawn. Definitely not in this season. Maybe in a later season. Way too early. Right now, he would still be in the Imperial Academy at this point in the timeline. So he hadn't even seen action, because they had Star Destroyers by the time. Oh no, they didn't. They were still using Venators. But I don't think he was okay. But he was never on. He never served on a Venator. So it's because of that. They're still too early on the timeline to see Thrawn, and I don't believe we'll see him in this season. But maybe in another season. Krennic is a strong possibility. We might see a tease of Krennic at the end of this series, at least at the end of this season, final episode maybe. I think we'll also see a tease of maybe the Death Star, or, you know, them showing the Death Star, which would be, you know, a way for them to show Krennic. And he may not even be voiced. We might just see the his white cloak, you know what I'm saying, walking across the bridge of the Star Destroyer overlooking that project. Um, but Duran, no, it's way too early. Way too early for Duran. But I think we will see. My bet is that we'll see a Star Destroyer by the end of this season. I think we will see the first Star Destroyer off the assembly line, off straight from quad drive yards, coming in to try to intercept the Bad Batch. Maybe I don't know. Dramatic fashion. If they gotta have a dramatic intro for the Star Destroyer, because it is significantly bigger than the Venator. It is quite a noticeable size difference between those ships. Also, the the construction configuration of those ships are a lot different. Like, I mean, I won't get into that. It's an entirely different. It's a conversation for another stream. But yeah, no, y'all got some good theories going. What time is it? Where are we at time wise? I see. Okay, I got a multi-stream going. Is there anybody on Twitch? I don't think so. Maybe. Might be a few people watching. Hello, if you are watching. Most people are commenting YouTube. I see. Looking at the multi-stream now. I don't think I've gotten any Twitch comments. But yeah, okay. We're 17 minutes in. Anyways, yeah. So now we have talked about the possibility of certain characters dying in this season. Certain members, maybe some members of the Bad Batch. Oh, before we get into that, maybe we don't even get into that. I do believe Rex will come back, because at the top of the episode, you maybe missed this, because I see a lot of people are just now joining. But I do want to know what and who everyone thinks will come to the rescue. Who is going to aid the Bad Batch in helping Hunter escape? Of course, I believe Rex is going to show up. He may. I don't know about Hauser, for instance. That the clone that we met for the first time on Ryloth. I don't know how. I don't know if he's even a viable option at this point, because he seemed to be detained, unless Cham was able to bail him out somehow in such short time span. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but it seems like a little bit of a stretch given how little time has passed. But we might. Fennec is another strong possibility. Depending on what happens with the Kaminoans, because that's another factor. Like, will we see the destruction of Kamino? I believe we will. I think it's going to happen in the next episode. I think the Kaminoans, that facility will be destroyed. Man, that could be interesting, because here's what could happen, right? We know that at least on this base we have stormtroopers, but that's not to say that that's the only base where we have stormtroopers. It is very possible that the what's his name, the Admiral, Rampart, he has his picture this scenario, for instance. Walk with me, guys, walk with me. Rampart has his own reserve troops, right? Star Destroyers, TIE Fighters, the whole nine. Like, he's got his war mantle basically ready on the side, kind of like, pulling a Thrawn maneuver. He's not showing his whole hand, right? And he gives the order to the clones to execute the Kaminoans. Something happens, they refuse. There's some sort of rebellion, because we've seen, I think that Hauser is sort of like that hint or that clue that we could see some of the clones deviating from control of the of that inhibitor chip. Like, some of it, because it doesn't make sense that Hauser be the only one that was affected or unaffected by the inhibitor chip. of the regulars. And then we see when he, makes his stand, that other clone troopers join him on Ryloth, and they are detained as well. So who's to say there aren't clones there on Kamino that aren't affected by the inhibitor chip, that when this order is given to destroy the Kaminoans, they hesitate, they refuse. That starts a civil war, and maybe those clones outnumber the clones that are loyal to the Empire, and then that's when Rampart calls in his forces, the stormtroopers in there, and we see all of these star destroyers dropping out of hyperspace on Kamino, and then they just rain fire down on the whole planet and they kill everybody. That is very dark, but I would love to see that. That would be crazy. Imagine that. Imagine that being like the finale of this season, yo. That would be insane. Because here's the thing, right? You gotta show how evil the Empire is, right? And even though Order 66 happened, I still feel like a lot of fans and a lot of people who watch Star Wars, they still have, especially people who grew up on the prequels, like we and the Clone Wars animated show, we have, this love for the clones. Like, the clones are the good guys. Even despite what happened in Order 66 and all that stuff, we know that it wasn't entirely under, their free will was robbed. Had the inhibitor chips not been there, I believe most of the clones, overwhelming majority of them, would not have gone through with Order 66, because their relationship with the Jedi was so strong, and we see that in the Clone Wars. Like, they respected the heck out of their generals and commanders, their Jedi generals and commanders. So what better way for them to showcase how evil the Empire is and get everybody to really hate the Empire than for the Empire to destroy the clones in one fell swoop, in one act of terror. I think that would be amazing. It would be brutal. And then, if they did something like that, then of course, I don't think any of the Bad Batch would then I think all of the members of the team would survive, of course. That would be the victory. All of them get away, but all of their brothers are basically killed, or the majority of them. And then that kind of puts Crosshair in an interesting situation, right? Because where does his loyalty lie? Does that happen if the Empire destroys Kamino and his brothers in cold blood? Is his inhibitor chip does it still have that much of a hold on him that he still can't break free? Or does that sort of jar him free a bit? All those things. But man, I'm just saying, this has to go out with a bang. And man, that would be amazing to see. That would be one heck of a visual, right? Like, I know a lot of people have been screenshotting that image of the Venator in low orbit, right beside the Kaminoan facility. And it's a beautiful shot, like the ocean, the dark clouds, the rain, the facility sitting above the water, and then right above it is the Venator. Man, imagine that, but it's Star Destroyers raining that green turbo laser batteries down on the Kaminoan facility. And then the bulk of the clone army is destroyed right there. The kids and all. And that's another thing, right? Like, they showed the clone cadets marching through the halls on Kamino. Like, imagine if they did that, and we know, like, they're not gonna show the clone cadets dying, but we know they're on there, right? That would be crazy. Mark Hamilton, what's happening? Would be amazing to see a Krennic debut in animation. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I think if we see Krennic, who was it, Trev? Yeah, Trev. Trev was saying, he was asking, will we see Krennic or Thrawn? And I Krennic to me is a better bet than Thrawn, because I believe Thrawn would still be in the Imperial Academy, so the likelihood of us seeing him in a way that makes sense and fits into the story is not likely. And also, if my knowledge serves me correctly, in the books he never actually served on a Venator class Star Destroyer or battle cruiser. So Thrawn's out of the picture. Krennic is definitely a possibility, because from what we know, he's involved with the Death Star program from, very early in its development stage. He and Galen, right? Galen, yeah, Galen Erso, working together. And I saw that what's her name? Felicity, the actress who played Jyn Erso. She said that it's not out of the realm of possibility for us to see her character again on screen. But I don't think not the Bad Batch, but it's possible. I think she was referring to Andor. Possibly, or one of those series that kind of has to do with Rogue One, or more so than the Bad Batch. But yeah, no, I think Krennic is a very strong possibility. I don't know that we'll see or hear him voiced, but I think we'll see possibly them teasing. I think we'll see TIE fighters. I think we'll see Star Destroyers. I think we'll see the Death Star, like the classic Imperial Army that we know and love from the original trilogy. I think we'll see that by the end, and it's a very strong possibility that we'll see an animated what's his name? Orson Krennic walking across the bridge of the Death Star, or a Star Destroyer, who knows. But yeah, I think we'll see that white cloak. I put cloak and cape together. Oh man, that was good. Okay, what else, man? Anybody got any more questions? Looking down in the chat, I don't see any more questions. I believe I have speculated to my heart's content, and we are at the 28-minute mark, because I pretty much I give my ranking of the episode, how I felt about it, and all that jazz at the beginning. Then we get into speculation a little bit, like good 15-20 minutes of speculation, which we have done, and I don't have anything else. I am looking forward to next week's episode, or this week's episode. It's not Friday, it is Monday. So this Friday, I'm definitely looking forward to this episode. We'll have another cliffhanger, and the season finale is going to be super epic, man. That season finale is probably, I'm anticipating I'm going to give that at like a 9.5 or a 10, possibly. I'm hoping. But yeah, I think for one, this show has to end with a bang. It has to end with a bang, because if it doesn't end with a bang, we'll get a season 2, but the amount of pressure that's going to be on season 2 for it to be successful is going to be immense. Because the way that this season has trended in viewership, I'm not knocking the show, because I've enjoyed the show, but clearly from the numbers, not as many people have been enjoying it for its duration. So, for a lot of those people to come back, the season finale has to end with a bang. If it does, then, people will come back and watch the series. And that's probably what happened anyway. I think a lot of people dropped out, and, they're just going to be like, oh, you know what, I'll just wait for this to end, and then I'll just binge it. Because, there are a lot of episodes in between that are slower than we all would have liked. So, I think a lot of people will come back and watch this after the season finale. And they'll be back, and, we'll see how season 2 goes. But either way, this finale needs to end with a bang. I remember the Rebels finale for season 1. Man, that was amazing. I'm not going to spoil anything because I know it's a lot of people who hadn't seen it, especially that watch our streams. So I won't spoil anything. But that season 1 finale for Rebels was really strong, and that hooked a lot of people. And I think they'll do the same thing with this. It's a good sign that this last episode was so strong, that this 3-part arc for the finale is going to be amazing. And I think it's going to get a lot of the average viewers on board. But yeah, these are different times. We are working. This is Disney that we're talking about. So George Lucas, for instance, with the Clone Wars, although the viewership and that show was bleeding profusely, monetarily, it wasn't making the money that they were putting into it, for those first 3 seasons. And then I think season 4 was when Netflix picked it up, for season 4, 5, and 6, I want to say. Or no, Cartoon Network did they did the first 5 seasons, and then Netflix did season 6, and then Disney 7. But they won't let the Bad Batch go on that long, if it continues with this viewership trend. Just gonna let you all know right now that that's not gonna happen. They will go back to the drawing board, and we'll have another they'll move on. But anyways, that's the episode. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Appreciate you all for joining. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for the cookout, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on this channel, man. We're gonna have a fun show, and definitely join the Discord. All the links, social media, Discord, all that's in the description box below. So be sure to join if you have not. Follow us on social if you have not. And if you're here for the Star Wars content, I will be back on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to review episode 15. Like I said, very, very looking very much forward to reviewing that episode. I think it's going to be a great one. Appreciate you all for joining me tonight. And as I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you always.